Sean, what did you talk about?
It's a fascinating day. He is 75 years old now. It has been more than a decade since he ran for president in Russia. As you mentioned, his moves toward perestroika or reform, chiefly credited with the peaceful dismantling of communism in the former Soviet Union and its satellite nations. And as you may imagine, he does have his thoughts about Russia's move toward democracy. He's in the United States to trumpet the possibility of rebuilding a blighted New Orleans in an environmentally friendly fashion.
Yeah. And then the windows are highly energy efficient and can stand 130-mile-an-hour winds.
Mikhail Gorbachev says he's the child of a peasant family who grew up working the land, and that, in part, prompted him to start his environmental organization, Green Cross International. I had a chance to sit down with the former Soviet leader and ask about world events, including an apparent power grab by Russian President Vladimir Putin, accused of clamping down on opposition, threatening the prospect of democracy. Gorbachev says Putin has kept Russia from sliding into chaos.
Putin is a person who was able to do a great deal, a lot of positive things during his two presidencies, and that saved Russia from chaos, that saved Russia from further disintegration. And when you face problems like these, then you don't act according to the democracy textbook, because you have to save the nation.
Polls show Putin wildly popular in Russia, favorable ratings near 80%. Putin says he may become prime minister and, in essence, appoint a hand-picked successor.
I would say that we're about halfway. We're about halfway. But we need to go the second part of the road. But I'm sure that the next elections will be different, that there will be a real debate, I'm sure.
Critics in Russia say Gorbachev weakened the country by splitting up the former Soviet Union. Gorbachev says disintegration of the country was a mistake, and the former USSR should have stayed together with autonomy for those republics that eventually split away.
The center should have been left only with things like a common currency, foreign policy, and defense. That would be it. And the people certainly supported that.
And Mr. Gorbachev told me there was actually a ceremony scheduled on August 20th, 1991, to sign a measure that would have preserved the former Soviet Union. But remember what happened? The coup on August 19th. Gorbachev was basically under house arrest in his vacation dacha out in the Crimea. And Wolf, as they say, the rest is history.
I was there. I was watching that history unfold in Moscow. I went there right after the aborted coup, and I went back in December when that red flag went down from the Kremlin, the last time, ending 74 years of communist rule in the then Soviet Union, which, as you know, disintegrated. Gorbachev not very happy about it. He was the last communist leader of the Soviet Union, and a lot of our viewers probably were therefore pretty surprised recently to pick up a glossy magazine, and there you see him doing an advertisement for Louis Vuitton. I want you to show our viewers that ad and that picture, and what you spoke to him about it today, didn't you?
Yeah, here's the ad. If you look at it, it's actually it's the pictures by Annie Leibovitz. It's an amazing picture. He's driving by the Berlin Wall in a limo with a very expensive Louis Vuitton bag sitting right next to him. I had a chance to say, what was going through your mind driving by this icon of communist rule? And he said, well, they said it would happen pretty quickly. Here's what he had to say.
Well, they shot it very quickly. They told me what their concept was, and they said that it will be in good taste, and that indeed Gorbachev is a person who travels a lot around the world, and this kind of thing is useful for him. And so this captures a moment when I enter the car and this bag is here.
And, well, for those of you who think this former communist icon now becoming a Madison Avenue pitchman, it's not quite that great. He's actually, all the money from this ad went to his charitable organization, so he didn't pocket any money from the Louis Vuitton ad. But he did one other commercial some time ago. Can you remember what company he pitched for?
No, help me.
Pizza Hut
Oh,
back
yeah.
in 1996. He was with his granddaughter. So he's a veteran, but he's such an engaging individual to talk to. He really warms up when you sit down and speak with him one-on-one.
I remember when they opened up Pizza Hut in Moscow in the late 1980s, and during that coup and during the collapse, we used to run over there and get pizzas, and we paid dollars so we didn't have to wait in long lines. All right, thanks very much, Sean, reporting for us from New Orleans. When we come back, you're going to see and hear from Marion Jones. She breaks down, she cries.